Are we live? Are we going? Make sure this is up. It's up. All right, we're working. Good stuff. All right, we're working. Perfect. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Nonsense live stream. It's Yaga, and how are we today? I am well. Thank you for asking, and I hope everybody's enjoying this beautiful October day. So at a whim, I honestly changed the topic of this discussion right before I started this, because I had heard a term, and then I put, remember the term separation anxiety? Well, I chose generation anxiety for this one. And that's just how it goes sometimes. I think about what I'm going to say. Sometimes it's right on point. Sometimes I just figure it out as I go. But this spoke to my inner logos, and it said that let's talk about anxiety. Generation anxiety. We literally are in a generation with full of people either suffering from some sort of anxiety disorder. They're on medication for it. They can't quite figure out why they're so fucking anxious all the time. But I have a lot of experience with that. I also don't believe people are as anxious as they think they are, because I believe a lot of this is manifested in your mind, and I'll get to that. But just the old screen there a little bit. So I know so many people that are on some sort of antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, mood stabilizer, all this nonsense. And you got to ask yourself a question. Well, why is that? Why is everybody so anxious? Why is everybody in need of some sort of medical help to get them over something that I truly believe is not that big of a deal, nor is it actual fear of any kind? Now, I'm not saying you can never be anxious. I'm not saying you can't have fear. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the amount of anxiety that exists isn't real. It's manifested. It's nonsense. It's exaggerated. It's not what people think it is. And a lot of people just don't know how to deal with this, don't have coping skills, don't have any tools that can help them process this anxiety. And unfortunately, we live in the world where everybody just relies on the modern medicine and some pills to help them through that, and they can exist in life. But I don't think it really ever deals with the problem of where is this anxiety coming from, right? Why are you anxious all the time? And I'll tell you from my own experience. I when I was a kid, I suffered from I used to get panic attacks, and I've talked about this before. I used to get so excited to go somewhere that I would literally cry and be just have an anxiety attack, like out of nowhere. Like I'd be crying, bawling, wouldn't want to get in the car. Like I was such a pain in the fucking ass for my parents. Looking back on it, like, thank God they just let me do it. Like their best solution for me was just let it out. Just they didn't interfere. They didn't throw me up against the wall. They were like, "Come on, Matt," and I just I literally just had to go until it was out. And then once it was out, I was fine. I got in the car. We got to go wherever we were planning on going, and everything turned out to be okay. But I look back at my life as a kid and I try to figure out why I was so excited to go somewhere that I was fearful of it. Like I was afraid almost to have fun. And it hindered me a lot when I was that young, because even when we got to the place of destination, then like rides, for example, I was terrified of going on anything that was a little bigger, like I say, one of those kiddie coasters or something like that. It took me a long time to overcome my fear of rides. And that's exactly what it was, overcoming fear. And anxiety comes from a lot of fears. A lot of fears either that we haven't dealt with, a lot of fears that we keep running from, but it's always that. It's always fear where anxiety comes from. Always. There's no argument. Oh no, man, you're anxious. No, it comes from a place of fear. Every single problem in life can be traced back to an underlying fear of some kind, right? Didn't want to get on the ride. Why? Why was I so scared? Was I afraid of my own death? Was I afraid of the twists and the turns? I was afraid of getting sick a lot of the time because that did happen. I used to get so anxious before going to this that I'd make myself sick. But then I get so anxious that I would get sick again in waiting in line. I used to throw up my lunch all the time, just waiting in like a kiddie roller coaster at the place we used to go to when I was a kid called Santa's Village. It's just it was a tiny little coaster. It wasn't anything extreme by any means, but for whatever reason, when you're 6, 7 years old, it was extreme for me. And so how did I deal with it? I either had to throw up, get it out, but looking at it as a grown adult many years later, like 30 years down the road, it was always a fear. Always. All my anxiety comes from fear. And there are two words that I avoid today that will keep me from having unwanted anxiety, and that is what if. Anytime I put what if this happens, what if blah, 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 blah. And people always try to get you in that trap too, when you're like, I'm not worried about it. And they're like, but what if, Matt? What if you don't have this? And it's too much. It's nonsense. It's just, you don't have to worry that much all the time. Most of this fear and anxiety is right here. It's not the actual reality of the situation. But what if, Matt? What if something happened to you when you didn't have this thing taken care of? And I go, well, it's not happening, so I'm not going to deal with it. And I truly believe, honestly, from my own experience in life, that all my anxieties stem from things that weren't happening. And if something was happening, it was the fear of, how am I going to deal with this process now? But the good news is, through those experiences, I learned lessons. And with those lessons I learned, I don't have to live in fear. And I don't suffer from this anxiety. But we have a fucking generation of people that are just so anxious all the time. Literally. And I see people suffering from stuff, and from an outside perspective looking at that, I know what it's like to be them because I've been in their mind. So this is why I'm convinced it's in the head. It is. It's not the reality of the situation. And to combat this, I'm going to give you some solutions that I know help for me. Try to treat your life with gratitude, right? Try to look at things you're grateful for. I know it sounds crazy, but usually if you try to change your perspective into the reality of the situation rather than what you think is going on, because a lot of it's delusional, a lot of it's insane, a lot of it is manifested fear from nothing. It's exaggerated, and the media does it real good at doing that. I mean, here's a prime example to give you an idea of how anxiety can be exaggerated. This whole situation with this whistleblower crap going on, with the president, they're trying to get him impeached, blah, 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 blah. And like I do with anything in the political world, I just stand back and I watch and observe. And I watch everybody fight amongst themselves, and I watch everybody, how these politicians and people in the media portray things and the way they talk. They are speaking in a manner that is almost designed to enact fear into you, keep you in a shred of mystery. Like, we don't know, this serious talk. Nobody talks like this in real life, by the way. Even if you think that's like professional demeanor, like nobody talks like that. Movie actors talk like that in movies, where they're just like, well, the seriousness of the situation and the whistleblower. And it's like, nobody fucking talks this way ever. And the older I get, the more experience I've had in life. Even when you talk to people in law enforcement, nobody fucking talks like that. Like, it's not the things we've been movies, television, all this, it's nonsense. And we think it's reality, and it isn't. And you see these people coming out talking just with this. Nancy Pelosi's coming out. She's like, blah, 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 blah. And I fucking hate talking politics. So I'm going to keep this brief, but I'm using it as an example of how people use fear to get you scared, like manifest this crazy story concoction in your mind that shit's going to hit the fan when in reality it's not. It's not even close to hitting the fan, but they get you scared. So you start getting emotionally involved. And when you get emotionally involved, you're hook, line, and sinker. You're already in. Whatever they say, you agree with. Oh, I vote for that. Okay, I'll vote for that. This person said that. You got it. Why? Because you're scared. The simplest solution I've ever found in this world to really bypass all the nonsense in the news, the media, and just life in general is bring everything down to your reality and into your world. Okay. Does it affect you directly? What is it you fear? Is it a reality right now? It's not. Like talking about these Iran attacks or Saudi Arabia, whatever, by Iran, and they just happen to have the video showing you. It's like, come on, guys, that's not real. It's more shit to make you think we need to be there, and we don't. There's a war going on that you don't see that has nothing to do with you or I. But in the media, it seems like it's something else. Reality, folks. Truth, reality. So how can you battle this generation anxiety? You don't need pills. I don't care what people think about what I have to say about medication and anxiety. I'm very anti-medication, anti-pills, antidepressant, anti-antidepressants. Okay. I don't think people are as crazy as they seem, as fucked up in the mind as they are, to where they need this shit for their lives to function. And people will argue with me night and day. And my argument back to them is I go, well, this shit hasn't been around that long. Okay. Antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, 20, 30 years ish, give or take. They haven't been around that long for you to really have a solid foundation of effects. But we're starting to see long-term effects. I've known people of getting off this stuff. And yeah, you will want to kill yourself, which is crazy. Don't take the dangerous potions. This stuff can be combated coming from a man who dealt with some of the worst childhood anxiety that you would ever see. I couldn't get into a pool when I was a kid. I was crying in second grade from Cub Scouts. I couldn't even take the swimming test because I was fucking freaking out. I was a little bitch kid. I had so much fear, and that was when I was a child. You think that would fuck me up for my whole life, and it hindered me in a lot of areas, but I'm here to tell you, you can reverse this stuff. It's possible, but it comes to honesty, try to keep an open mind, and a willingness are the three things that I've discovered to do that. Okay. Be honest with yourself. Always be honest with yourself. Say no to the things you don't want to do, yes to the things you do, and don't let these exaggerated scenarios creep into your mind and instill fear into you because they're not real. But if you get scared, you start to do dumb shit. You know, even today, I can get scared. It's not like I'm immune to this shit. There are things that terrify me. You know, think there's a war going on that you can't see that I'm aware of, but I can't describe it to you unless you really just sit back and look at how things are played out. Like everything going in that Saudi Arabia, Iran shit, it's not really what it is. And I know you think it is, or what? Well, maybe you don't. I think most people are. Most people, I think, look at the media and go, "This is bullshit." Like we get that now, but it's also like what's going on is almost directed to make you think it's bullshit to get to something else. It's all connected. Republicans, Democrats, whatever, they're all the same. They're all actors who failed at being in Hollywood. That's what politicians are, folks. They are people who weren't attractive enough but could kind of act, so they got into politics because they couldn't get rich and famous in Hollywood. um, and now I call out women a lot, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but women are more susceptible to anxiety than men. I grew up around two sisters and a mom, so I didn't have a lot of good male influence when I was a kid. I had women around me the whole time. So I behaved like a woman. Like I didn't know how to deal with fear. My mother had so much crazy anxiety that manifested from nowhere that I inherited some of it by just absorbing it from my surroundings and not knowing how to cope or process with this stuff until later on in life. Until I battled alcoholism and dealt with that. Then I figured it out. And by doing that, got me to see the truth and get honest with myself and realize that a lot of this stuff is just there's two ways to go in this world: fear or love. If you choose the love path, the fear can't creep in. Fear is the that's why things feed off fear, you know? You can only rule people by fear. I'm gonna kill your fucking cat if you don't do this right now. That's fear. And you're like, okay, I'll do it. And you give in because you don't want to see your cat die and someone's got a gun to its head, right? Fear. If you do not save enough money, you will not be able to retire at 65, man. Don't you want to retire at 65? Well, I'm not 65. I don't care. Well, but you will care in 30 years when you're 65. What if you don't have enough money? I'm like, what if the world blows up by then? Right? You just throw that stupid argument of what if right back into people's face, because it's a stupid argument. It's nonsense, and you can go in circles all day for it. So there's one to avoid. Avoid the what if traps. Okay. What if anything? But nothing's guaranteed in life, folks. Let's say you go to college, you get that fucking degree, you get your bachelor's, you get your doctorate, your master's, you fucking did it all. You spent that $150,000 wisely and you're paying it off. You get the job. All of a sudden, you get laid off. You don't have the job. Nobody's hiring. And it's happened. It happened, I don't know, in 2008 when the fucking housing market crashed. And all the houses stopped being built around where I lived. They were booming for a while and then nothing. And they still haven't made new construction. And it's been a decade. So don't fucking tell me that they're all of a sudden, everything's bouncing back, man. It's in the books and the numbers. I'm like, I could see outside. That same fucking model house has been sitting there and there's no new neighborhoods. So no, it isn't growing. So that's not reality. Oh, but on paper, no. The reality of the situation is we've never recovered from that thing. A lot of people got mortgages that they couldn't get because they bought a bunch of nonsense from the bank. They fucked up their finances. They now all live together in family harmony. They're working shitty jobs. They had the good job. They don't got it anymore. Maybe they got their life back together. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, people learned a hard lesson a decade ago. And those people now value certain things: family, community, friends. That's it. Love. And they build from that. And they say, fuck the rest. Fuck the rest of the external things. Fuck how much money you've got. Fuck your social status or your prestige or whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter in the long run. You get old one day, you die, right? That's another way to not worry so much is you're going to die. And you may have a panic attack and think you're about to die, but you're probably going to live to your old, unless you're a fucking moron and you give into this anxiety and you live in fear and you don't want to get outside your little head bubble. And I'm not kicking this down lightly, because I tell you this from a person who suffered from anxiety and depression a lot in his life and is telling you now that after a while you realize where a lot of this stuff comes from, and it's not real stuff. They're not real problems. It's not real fear. It's manifested in your head. But that mind is so powerful. Your mind is powerful. It'll cripple you in reality from doing anything, taking any action to make your life a little bit better, right? So you have to take action to make your life better, folks. Take action to get out of the anxiety. I don't believe in taking pills or any of that stuff. And I've always said it. I've done videos on it. I've talked about it in length and in depth. And if you do want to know what I say, go look up some of my old videos. I don't need to get into it now. A lot of people don't like what I have to say about it, but all I do is speak truth from where I was at to how I got to this point. And that's all. And if you just listen to yourself instead of letting every other person in the world decide what's best for you, you might figure that out for yourself. You know yourself more than anyone else because you are you. We listen to other people for suggestions in areas that we are stronger or we lack information or skill in to make decisions, right? But your mind and your body is your own. You are the only person who can truly listen to that. Truly. So get it right. Generation anxiety doesn't have to exist anymore. And I think it's turning around. I honestly do. I don't believe all the nonsense I read about fear, depression, anxiety is up. I'm like, I know there's a lot of people on fucking pills. There are a lot of people on medication that don't need to be. And I'm around people in recovery a lot, and none of them are as crazy as you think they are. Just made some shitty decisions in life, some bad choices, some selfish choices. But other than that, they're not really fucked up. It's the same shit. Same problems we all have. I don't have enough money. Oh, I don't like my relationship. I don't have a good enough car. I wish I had a bigger house. It's always some external bullshit thing. So how do you combat that? Change it into gratitude, right? I have enough food on the table. I'm grateful that I can eat today. Um, I don't have $1 million in the bank, but I have enough money and the bills are paid. So that's good. Um, I value the relationship I'm in. My partner does this, 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 and this very well. Not the things they do wrong, the things they do very fucking well. Right? I don't have the best job in the world, but what am I doing to change that situation? Am I looking for another job? Am I taking the proper action steps to even get myself out of there? Am I trying to progress at my job? Am I being honest with how hard of a worker I actually am? So you have to dig deep within yourself. The anxiety issues, it's not real. And as a kid, when I was doing all this, getting really anxious on the rides or before that, I was just I was excited. Like my anxiety came from a place of, I can't wait to go. The anticipation of going made me fucking have a breakdown. That kind of stuff doesn't happen today. I really believe you can outgrow this stuff. I believe it. I don't care how much psychology's out there. Freud's a fucking idiot. Carl Jung made a lot of sense, but Freud, not so much. And I used to think psychology was the way. There was a time in my life I thought being a psychologist to help people was going to be the way to go, and there's this nice intellectual argument. But I don't think it's all that. I think part of it is because you have to look at patterns of behaviors, people's actions, see how they do. But human behavior is pretty much all the same: eat, sleep, sex. It's this lovely world we've constructed with all the gizmos and gadgets. See, that's why we live in such an anxious time. We have it so good that we have to literally live in fear all the time because our purpose, everything's done for you. So what do? Even if you have kids, you've had kids, now you've done that, but you don't even need to take care of your kids. The screen in front of them takes care of them, right? Um, the indoctrination centers take care of them. The things, it's starting to come full circle. I already saw somebody locally complain about what they were teaching their young kids about their private parts in school, and that wasn't good. And I talked about this before. It's coming. I said, like, watch out for your kids in school. That's what they're coming from. Because if you can get kids young and they grow up to my age, you got yourself a person who can't think for themselves and know themselves. Know thyself is a big thing. I had to break away from the society of the world, really get to the bottom of me and who I thought I was to discover what I truly am. And that has allowed me to just be free of all this bullshit. No anxiety. Do I get anxious? Of course. To sit here and be like, oh, I don't get anxious ever. I'm like, no, it's not what I'm fucking saying, people. I'm saying you don't have to have manifested anxiety and be living in a fear bubble forever. You just don't. You can live life without medication too. Good eating habits are all part of it. Meat, fruit, and vegetables. That's all you need. Okay. Meat, fruit, and vegetables. You don't need anything else. Oh, hold on. Cat came in. Stupid cat. Well, that's the reality of the situation. Cats. Meat, fruit, and vegetables, right? Healthy eating. have something along the lines of meditation, something where you can calm your mind, get in touch with nature, read a book, do something that isn't a distraction. TV is a distraction, internet's a distraction, Facebook, all that fucking nonsense. Something that isn't a stimulant of the brain. We're just fucking looking at screens all day. Something that connects you with nature helps. Um, Fucking look into Zen Buddhism. Do something. Find your own path is what you have to do. If you know that you're miserable, you're anxious, you are the only one who's going to pull you out of that trap. You can do it with the help of other people, but you have to make the decisions. You have to become willing. You have to be honest with yourself. Avoid the what if trap. But what if something happens? What if we don't work out? What if you don't get a job? I'm not worried about it. Everything I've ever worried about in my life, honestly, either it didn't happen or it still got me where I'm at today. Like the worry doesn't help. It doesn't matter. The worry is just a waste of time. You have to figure out what's best in your reality. And the reality situation is most of the time when you're worried about all this stuff and you're getting anxious about something, take a minute, take a deep breath, and just go, I'm here right now. Right now, I'm fine. Right now, I'm doing this live stream. Right now, I'm sitting here talking to the person I'm talking to. Right now, I'm at work. Right now, I'm at the grocery store. Right now, I'm pumping gas in the car. Whatever it is, just take that few seconds to breathe and pause and become wherever you're at in the now. It will calm your mind. You'll be able to function. You'll be able to see reality for the way it is and not for what you think it is in your head. You'll be able to navigate this world without living in fear and making shitty decisions for yourself. Don't let other people raise your family. You raise your family. Your kids are your kids. If you got kids, do that. If you don't have kids, it's up to you to take care of yourself. I see all these fucking, for years, all these fucking dumb people posting shit about your life is just like these grandiose ideas of what your life is and things. We're all here. We're all on earth. We're all dealing with something. We're all working. We're all trying to figure it out. We don't need to exaggerate into a above the clouds reality. You have to learn to bring yourself back down to earth, but also know what you're good at and don't let people try to bring you down for, try to say you're arrogant for things you're good at, right? It doesn't matter. People who aren't good at something and speak up against it are usually the most arrogant people. That's true arrogance. Like saying you're really good at something, I'm the fucking man, but you fucking suck. That's arrogance. Most people who are really good at something, honestly, don't say they're good at it at all. They just do. You have to live life, not say. Words are fucking hollow if you have no action to back them up. If you are a person who lives with your words and action go hand in hand, that's ideal. Make that your goal. Say you're going to do something, do it. Or better yet, don't say anything, do it. Don't say anything after you do it. Just keep that for yourself. That's for you. You don't have to exploit it to the world because then your ego is getting involved. And I do it too. I'm doing some my energy now creatively has now gotten into refinishing tables and chairs and shit. I'm like painting a table now and restaining the top and doing all this shit. And I like sanding. There's something about doing work that makes me feel fulfilled, makes me feel purposeful, makes me energetic. Outside of just helping people with their anxiety problems and issues, then when I talk to them, when I'm doing other things, it's that labor and then the end result is something you created. There's nothing better than that. Anything. Cook a meal, build a chair, fucking, I don't know, plant a tree, tend a garden, something like that. Any of those things where it's something that's created that you have to maintain and you've put the work in to build, you know, that's why I've people who are into trades and stuff, my hat's off to them who do it for a living every day. Part of me has to think they hate that all the time, like all day, every day building shit. But at the same time, what kind of fulfilling life that is to be making houses and plumbing and shit like that and painting and making places for people to live. Like that's awesome. Me, I just do it as a hobby, right? But my energy of creativity has to be directed somewhere always. You know, if you're anxious, take that anxious energy instead of curling up into fear, direct the energy outwards, not in. You're just gonna freeze up, you're gonna get fucking scared, you're gonna have a hard time dealing with stuff. Don't be scared. Fuck what everyone else thinks, just do it. You want to make videos on the internet and have a YouTube channel? Fucking do it. Who cares if anybody watches it or not? And if you're doing it because you want people to watch, then you're doing it for a selfish, self-centered reason, and it's ego. But if you're just doing it because you want to do it, because it's something you want to do to direct your energy, because fucking watching porn and jerking off and Instagram isn't doing it for you, and yes, by all means, do something constructive with your time. And never let anybody tell you, hey, that's a waste of time. You should be doing other things. Fuck you. You don't know that. You don't know what other people should be doing, right? You don't. Maybe you should just worry about what you're doing. Drives me nuts when other people tell other people like what they should be doing in their life as if they know that's what's good for them. It's like you're not in their head. You have no idea what's good for them. And I don't, people who suffer deeply from anxiety, who have this crippling fear where they can't function, I've seen it. I've been that person. I am not discounting that shit at all. I am trying to give solutions to these things without medication, solutions to these things to let you know that it isn't um, as extreme or um, as severe as you might think it is in your mind. It's not. You have to just figure out what that fear comes from, right? What are you scared of? Why are you anxious about the situation? Oh, I don't have enough money to do this thing that I want. So I'm scared that I don't have the money to do it. And since I don't have the money to do it, it makes me feel like a piece of shit. And I'm getting really anxious and worried that I'll never be able to do it. It's like, okay, there you go. You talk your way through it. You figure out what the problem is. You don't just go, oh, well, if I just fucking had this thing, it's not that simple, guys. External things in this world are never going to make you 100% fulfilled or happy. It just won't, right? Once I'm done with, creating a table, I'm going to want to move on to another table or something else. I'm looking at furniture differently. I'm like, oh, this could be good, but it's good. It's for me. It's what I need to do. I can't just stay stagnant and doing the same shit all the time. I just never been able to. This poor generation of anxious people, and anxious people, I really mean women. It's more women than it is the men. And I get a lot of shit for saying that, like, oh, you don't like women. Like, no, I love women. I'm really trying to help you. These poor women either didn't have a good male role model in their life or don't have a good man to lead them. And I've found that that's usually the problem. Like if you actually talk to one of these anxious ladies and you get to know them and they start telling you about their life and why they're afraid and all the shit that's happened to them, you start to put the pieces together. You connect the dots. It's all very much the same. There was no guy there. Their dad sucked. My brother was an asshole. All the guys I dated were dicks. It's like, well, that's true. And then, so they just never had a good man just come up and be like, no, baby, I'll provide for you. I'll lead and be good. And those women who did, you don't hear about them on the internet because they're not the ones that are bitch moaning and complaining on the internet. And they're not. And they're usually not the ones suffering from that much anxiety because they usually have other people or a man that can help them with that anxiety, honestly. And I'm here to tell you, men suffer from it too. I've known guys who were military veterans who have seen some shit and have been through their own kinds of trauma, and that's something that from my experience, I've never experienced. So I can't relate in that sense, but I do know that it fucks with your head, and you can carry this stuff with you in your mind, and it can hinder your life around you if you allow it to. You have to just get it out. You have to talk about it. You have to deal with it. You have to know that today you're doing better things for yourself now. Keep moving forward. Use your past as a guiding tool for making better decisions in the now and in the future. But also, if you truly want to help other people that are suffering from this, you let them know from your past. This is why I talk about it. This is why I sound the way I do. It's not to sound fucking like I figured out everything. It's because I'm speaking from all my experience of life. Everything that was told to me, taught to me, everything I went through has got me to the point that I'm at now. This is where I've arrived at, and these are the conclusions I've come up with. And I still continue to process and learn and deal with this stuff because it's an ongoing process. But the unmanageableness of the overwhelming anxiety doesn't exist for me at all anymore. At all. Hints of anxiety, bits and pieces, nervousness. Sure, that's all good energy. Do I get angry? Yes. Anger happens every now and then. But this overwhelming anxiety, or people like, I just don't want to live anymore. My life is terrible. Good God, if you were me, you wouldn't want my life. You've got a roof over your head, you've got a car, you've got money in the bank, you've got food every day, you've got this loving family that cares for you, you've got great relatives. It's like, well, what's the problem? Oh, that's right. There is no problem. It's made up in the head. And when you realize that almost all of your anxiety comes from fear-based, it's not just your fault. A lot of things in life are your decisions, the dumb choices you made, but you're influenced. You're influenced from all over society. You're influenced on the internet. You're influenced on TV, movies, magazines, old books, new books, that a book, out of blah, blah, blah. You're influenced all day, every day. And you absorb all this shit. You hear this, you start living it. You kind of play with like what works, what doesn't work. I behave this way, this happens. I don't know. No. Be who you are. And the best sense I could say is just be who you are when you are honest with yourself. Say yes to things you want to do, no to the things you don't, but yet try other shit too, because sometimes maybe you end up liking it. It's like just recently with this whole furniture thing, I've thought about it. You know, I talked about it before about how when I was a kid, I had no desire to do shop class of any kind, no desire to do woodworking. Like I didn't care when I was in sixth grade in my first shop class. I was glad it was over. I had to make a like a CD carrying case. It was just made out of wood, two little, it was stupid. And that I was like, I remember because I grew up with women. I had a lot of feminine traits that were very loud when I was a kid that were just like, I didn't like this. But I like cooking. I liked home ec class. I do to this day. Made banana bread on my vacation on an impulse. And tomato basil chicken just randomly because it was there. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking make it. So I did. And now I'm looking at furniture. I'm sanding down tables. I'm like, I'm going to stain this because I want to see if I can do it, number one. But also, it's fascinating and fun to me when I see people build stuff. And I think I'm finally getting in tune with my building nature again. So I have to do that. That's what I have to do for me. It's what I want to do. It's what I'm willing to do. And at the end of it, it makes something awesome. I'm going to take this plain ass oak table and I'm going to turn it into a new piece of awesome, just whatever. It's going to look great. And it's going to make the lady happy. It's going to make me happy. It'll be admired from afar by others. Awesome. And then it might make you go, you know what? I wonder if I can do that. And then people go out and do it all the time. It's not about really inspiring anybody. It's just really about if you want to do something, just do it. That's within reason, of course. Nothing ridiculous. If you're like, if I only had the time, I wish I could do those. Just do it. Do it. What are you waiting for? Don't wait. That's another problem with this. There's so much anxiety. People are always waiting for stuff to happen. Like, I'll wait till I have enough money in the bank till I do that. I'll wait till I'm like 30 to have children. I'll wait till I'm okay in my mind. It's like you're never going to be 100%. So you might as well just make some decisions and go from there. Because I'm sure the later down the road, the older you get, you'll probably really you won't look back at it with regret. Anybody I've ever talked to that's older, plus 80 plus, they don't regret anything. You know, having the kids, doing this, doing that. And it's really fascinating. Had a wonderful talk with my lady's grandparents over the weekend where we stayed with them, and they're getting up there in age, and they were telling stories. They told us some stories about when they were younger and how crazy some of their dumb decisions were. And I go, see, and Kate's like, my lady's like, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even know you were that crazy. I'm like, because our viewpoint of our grandparents when we are brought into this world is they're old when we get to know them. We didn't know them when they were 20. We didn't know them in their fucking youth when they were reckless and making dumb decisions for themselves. We didn't know that. Then you hear a story, her grandfather shared this fucking story. He's like, one time, I was driving like 89 miles an hour on the highway, and I'm just drinking fucking whiskey straight out the bottle, and there's a cop right next to me, and he just points at me and says, pull over. And she's like, blown away. Couldn't believe her grandfather, who isn't an alcoholic or ever did any of those things, did that. And it's fucking fascinating to me. I'm like, oh, see, people do dumb shit. People do crazy things. Even the people you hold in the highest regard in this world have a history of bad decisions. It's okay. We don't have to sit there and wag our finger from a moral high ground at them, but we just go, they know that too. That's why the older you get, the less older people say about shit. It's always young people, younger, youthful people that are always loud about stuff. And the older you get, people just kind of go, yeah, I fucking did that. I made some bad decisions. I can't really yell at you for wanting to do that because I get it. You're going to have to learn your own lesson. And that's the trick. Not the trick. The lesson is you have to learn your own lesson in life. You have to walk the path until you get that lesson. And you're going to have to keep making those mistakes until you learn the lesson. But the good news is you don't have to live in manifested anxiety, and you don't have to take medication to get you there. Basic stuff, folks, that we heard when we were kids that we just fucking forgot because we think our wonderful technology has all the answers for us. We're constantly pursuing something other than the truth. The truth is get plenty of rest, eat right, which is meat, fruit, and vegetables. Try to avoid all the processed bullshit, sugary crap. I know it's hard, but you have to make a conscious effort. It's your choice. Better decisions today equal better results tomorrow. Know that all the fears that you are thinking of in your mind are coming from just that, your mind. When you take a step back and look at reality, take a look around. I'm just sitting in my room right now doing a live stream. Look outside the window. Oh, there's some beautiful birds and squirrels are just hanging out. Reality's pretty good. Avoid the what if traps. Well, what if we don't work out? Like, well, that whole thing, if you're in a relationship and a woman says, well, what if we don't work out? You have already sabotaged the relationship to the point that you've convinced yourself that it's not going to work out, and at a point in time it's going to end. So what are we going to do when it ends? Think about that. Let it soak in. That's what that means. Don't do that. I don't tell people to do things a lot, but don't do that. Don't say, what are we going to do when this relationship ends? You've already established in your mind a preconceived notion that the relationship's over before it actually is. So it will be over eventually because you programmed your mind to let it be over. Again, a common trait I found more in females than it is in the males. And this isn't me picking on the ladies, it's just you're more susceptible to it. I grew up with two women. I get it. I had more feminine traits as a kid and even as a young man. And even today, because I do craft shit, and sometimes I'm like, God, you're a little bit too much. But I'm also on the creative side. I'm trying to find the balance between the two. Masculine 51, feminine 49, right? If I sway too much either way, my traits always kind of balance themselves out. You know, I can't do crazy dumb fucking man shit all day, but I can't do girly crap all day either too, you know? It's like so I'm not picking on you ladies. I love you. I really do. I'm trying to help, and I'm helping by just letting you know from my own life experience because when people are like, "Well, you're not a doctor, Matt. You're not a psychologist. You're not a psychiatrist." I go, "Right, but I'm a human being." And those people that you hold in such high regard, those doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, are also human beings. And all they did was read books, study stuff, and have a perception on it and regurgitate a lot of that information. But I'm here to tell you some of that information fucking wrong. Like, you know, oh, this pill that was invented only 20, 30 years ago, that's how you cure your anxiety and depression. It's going to help you. Before that, for the thousands of years of hard work and creating beautiful artwork and beautiful structures and everything like that, that shit, that got us through farming, family, community, growing your own food, building shit. Yeah, no, that was bullshit. But you know what's really going to help you with your anxiety? This fucking potion pill that I call anti-anxiety medication. No, you're supposed to feel anxiety, folks. You're supposed to feel a little bit of fear every now and then. You're supposed to. You can't just push it all down into you. It's not possible. You will go actually insane by doing that. You will break down. But through the breakdown, you'll have growth. Through every single tragedy in my life that has caused me some sort of pain, I have grown from it. It has taught me something about myself. It has made me a stronger and better human being, and I push forward. It's possible. You have to feel anxiety. To just take a pill to pretend like reality isn't happening and this problem isn't there. You're just avoiding the problem. It will get worse. It will expand. It will become unbearable and it will explode one day. And then it's going to be very bad. Learn to deal with this stuff as it comes up. Find your true purpose, whatever that is. And you may already have it and you don't even know it. I need the best relationship. How's the one you're in now? Are you even trying in that relationship or does the other person have to do everything? Take responsibility for your own words and actions in this world, and you're going to see some really good results happen in your life. The shit you always wanted, you either have already had it or you had it and you took it for granted because you thought you needed more. See, change your attitude into gratitude, which is, it sounds cliche, and it is when you say it like that, but it's true. Be grateful for your relationship. Be grateful for the person that is also devoting their life to you and wanting to spend time with you. Don't take that for granted because the older you get, it is harder to bond with people. I think, anyway. That's why it is beautiful when people get married at 18, 19 and just stay together that whole time. We're like, how can you do that? How can you not fuck around for your 20s and just wait till you're 30, 35 to have people? I'm like, or what about, I've known this person since they were a teenager. I've known this person in their 20s. I knew this person when they were out of their fucking minds. I knew this person in their 30s when they matured more, and then into their 40s, and then into their old age and retirement years. And then now we're fucking dying together. I ain't going anywhere, baby. Beautiful. I think so, but I didn't always think this way. Or I felt it really deep in my soul, I should say, but then I took the poison. I was influenced by a lot of societal bullshit that told me I should do this, jaded by the things that I thought that were done to me, and so I just took that and made it all about me. And again, this a lot of fucking scenarios in life, and I could talk about it all day, every day. But generation anxiety, we don't need to be there anymore. We have everything. So let's take it easy. And the best thing is don't take yourself too seriously, ever, at all, anything. And the minute you find yourself getting so irritated or pissed off by something stupid, like, oh, you left the toilet seat up, let it go. Let it go. The anger's not worth it in the long run, guys. When you let go of that anger, it all goes hand in hand. So if you can let go a little bit of anger, you'll probably be less anxious. If you can let go of some anxiety, you'll probably be less angry. It's all connected. It's not just if I just get rid of this one thing, I'll be okay. It's like no. You have to work on everything all the time. You'll never be perfect at it, but you can always get better. So avoid the what ifs. Be honest with yourself. Don't buy all the bullshit, fear nonsense on the news and the TV. Just don't watch it. Stop. Talk to people in front of you. Get to know your neighbor. Talk to the people that are in your social circle more. The people that have grown with you. The people that you have known since you were 5. Talk to them again. Because they're not the same people they were in high school. Me and my friends, I've known guys 25, 30 years of my life. We're not the same guys from high school. We might do or say some of the same shit, but we keep changing as the years go on. And it's okay. It's just a new level of life. Accept it, move on. The what ifs are a big one. What if this? What if that? What blah, 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 blah. God, who cares? What if? I don't know. What if an asteroid hits the Earth tomorrow? Are we all going to stop living? No. Keep living. Enjoy this ride. Enjoy life. Be joyful. Have children, have a family, love the family you're with. And if you don't, find people to connect with. They're out there. There's plenty of us. At the end of the day, family's going to be there. My lady's grandmother just passed away a couple weeks. She's been there for her aunt and her mom. And, at the end of the day, I'm like, that's it. We've just visited her other grandparents who are older. And all they've got is each other now. They want people to come visit them and they understand, but that's it. It's just you two. A selfless act. You can either give yourself to someone else, die that way, or die alone, I guess. Choice is yours. I prefer to be with a person and grow and just share a ton of laughs and joy and sadness and pain, but also just a lot of wonderful things. But it's all about how you look at it, guys. It's really about your perception in this world. And if you're trying to get out of that anxiety bubble and there's people around you that are sick, and that's all it is, it's just a sickness. It's not something, but it is contagious. You can get sucked right down into the sickness with them and it could drain you and you can become just like that, or if not, unmotivated to take action in life, right? I'm not saying get rid of these people from your life, just detach with love. Detach from these people with love. That's all you got to do. I love you, but I got to go. I hope you figure it out. I really do. And anybody who's struggling with depression, anxiety, trust me, my heart goes out to you people. It's a struggle. I get that. But it's not going to be solved with pills. And it's not going to be solved with nonsense entertainment. It's not going to be solved by jerking off. It won't. Don't take yourself too seriously. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you for the people that have been watching. That's pretty awesome. It's great to have a bit of an audience. Please like, comment, share. And if you have any ideas for next week's stream, let me know. And I might, do some research. If not, be so impromptu and just come up with something on a whim. But that's kind of how I do it. So that's what I am. Everyone have a great day.